So here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. We have a phenomenal guest by the name of Daniel Blue. He is waiting to come on, itching, scratching, biting. He can't wait, and I can't wait to bring him on to share his brilliance, his success story, what he does for people and how he helps them. Just an all-around great guy. Had a great time getting to know him just a moment ago. The Mind Body Business Show is a show that has the mission and purpose to give you the secrets, quote unquote, to success by bringing on very successful, very accomplished entrepreneurs like Daniel Blue, where you can then take his information that you will get on this very show right here, right now, write it down, take notes, and then be sure to take action and implement those things that Daniel talks about tonight that you know will help you to achieve success faster in your life. That's what it's all about, because doing it all by yourself and trying to figure it out can take you a decade or more to figure it out all on your own. Can you do it? Yes, you have the ability to. Should you do it? My humble opinion, no. You should get the help. And Daniel is a great example of that because he is a person that gets help in different ways. And we'll talk about that a little bit on the show so that you can understand why and how he got to the level of success he's achieved so far. Pretty cool. And the very name of this show is all about what I call the 3 pillars of success. And I won't go into them too deep right now, but mind is about having a very positive, yet more importantly, flexible mindset. These are the traits of the most successful people I have studied over the past decade. And then body. To a person, every successful person I studied took care of themselves nutritionally and through regular exercise. And business. Business is very multifaceted because it takes mastering various skill sets in order to build, develop, and grow a successful business. Skill sets like marketing, sales, team building, leadership. I could go on for quite some time with all the skill sets. And you don't have to master every single one of them. That's the good news, because mastery takes a long time. It's like being an expert in anything. It takes many hours. If you master just one of the skill sets that I mentioned, it's actually one of the few I mentioned just a moment ago, then the others can fall into place much simpler and much quicker. And that is the skill set of leadership. And you don't have to wait till you have a team. If you're a solopreneur, work on how you are leading yourself. And once you master that skill set and then you bring on other people to then lead, you will master it even deeper. And you'll find that you can now bring in those people that have mastered the skill sets that you have yet to, or maybe perhaps never will, because of the time it takes to master anything. So that's the good news. So leadership is very key. And another great quality I've noticed in nearly every successful entrepreneur I've ever run into is they're very avid readers of books. And so with that, I'd like to segue very quickly into a little segment I affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by ReachYourPeakLibrary.com.
Yes, there you see it on the screen. If you're watching, if you're listening, it's ReachYourPeakLibrary.com. And a real quick word of advice is write that URL down instead of succumbing to that itch, I like to call it, of going off and checking it out while the show is going. Just take notes for now, especially when we have Daniel on, who's coming on right after this segment. We're talking a couple minutes. So write down the notes, and then after the show is over, go back and visit those resources that interest you, because the magic happens in the room. And I would just hate for you to miss that one golden nugget that Daniel is going to be dropping that could potentially change your life forever for the better, because your attention was sidelined off looking at these resources. So just my 2 cents, and I'm off my soapbox. Reach Your Peak Library. That is a site that I had developed with you in mind. I myself personally did not avidly start reading books until about the age of 47. I'm 57 now. And then I learned, my gosh, what a world. What an important thing to do is to read very powerful books. And what I did is I started compiling a list of every book I've read that had a profound impact on either my business or my personal life or both. So not every book I've ever read is on this list. The purpose of this is so that you have a place to go where you can be somewhat assured, at least more than 50%, that the book is going to be worthy of your time. I can't promise it's going to have the same effect it did on me, but at least the odds are much greater because at least one other successful entrepreneur has vetted them for you. And this is not for the purpose of making money. All those buttons go to Amazon, so we might make a few cents if you buy a book. It doesn't matter to me where you get it. If you see a book that jumps off the screen, you want to go get it, go straight to Amazon. I'm fine with that. This is just a resource for you so you can get ahead in life, in business, much faster. That's what it's all about. It's working efficiently. All right. Speaking of working efficiently and masterfully, we've got someone waiting in the wings I want to share with you right now. It's time to bring on Daniel Blue. Here we go.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is the one, the only Daniel Blue. All right. Welcome to the show, Daniel. How you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm doing great with that intro. I don't know if I've ever gotten an intro like that before, so I'm honored to be here.
Every word true, a true reflection on you as a person and how you go about life. So, and I can tell that in just a short time we've known each other. You just seem like a wonderful person of integrity, knowledge. You're an owner of an education company. I love everything I've read about you and now that I know about you by talking to you. So thank you for spending your valuable time in helping those who are watching this show and listening to it to get ahead in life for themselves. Because I want everybody to know this, that Daniel is volunteering his time right now. This is all volunteer, and he's doing it to help people. And that's what makes entrepreneurs go, doesn't it, Daniel? I mean, that's what we love doing, serving people.
Yeah, everyone thinks that being an entrepreneur is just full of Lambos and vacations and massive bank accounts. And obviously there's rewards in business, but there's a lot of heartache, a lot of sacrifice, and you definitely have to be able to add value in the marketplace in order to get places.
Spoken like a true pro. I mean, it's, yeah, thank you. Thank you for stating the truth. Before we jump in, I'm going to give you the introduction you deserve. Right before we do that, a few bits of housekeeping, if you will. For those of you watching, you see a logo, the Big Insider Secrets, right over Daniel's left shoulder to the right of the screen if you're watching. For you on podcast, it's thebiginsidersecrets.com. Why is that important? Because they are sponsoring this very show, and they gave us the ability to give away every show a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. And we get to do it every show. So you want to stay on live till the end, and that's where we'll reveal how you can enter to win. It's phenomenal. You do not want to miss that. And then a couple more, we'll get back to the man, the myth, the legend, Daniel himself. So if you're struggling with putting a live show together and it's overwhelming and you want a lot of the processes done for you while still enabling you to put on a high quality show and connect with great people like Daniel Blue and grow your business all at the same time, then head on over to carpetbombmarketing.com. Carpet Bomb Marketing. Saturate the marketplace with your message. And one of the key components that is contained in the Carpet Bomb Marketing system is one that you'll learn how to absolutely master. It's the very service we use to stream our live shows right here and right now on the Mind Body Business Show. Over the course of the past, 10 years now, I've tried many of these quote unquote TV studio solutions for live streaming. And I have to tell you, StreamYard is the best of the best. It just combines supreme ease of use along with unmatched functionality. So write this URL down and then go to it after the show. It's ryp.im/streamlive, all together, no spaces, all lowercase. ryp.im/streamlive. Now let's bring on the special guest of the hour. And you know what? He's not the guest. He's the star. He's the reason we have this show. It's people like Daniel Blue. And now I want to give him the introduction he so richly deserves. Daniel is a regular contributor to Forbes.com. You got me right there. I don't need to say another thing. And is the owner of Quest Education, a company that helps entrepreneurs obtain capital for their companies, pay off high interest rate debt, and make money tax-free using a self-directed retirement account to invest in alternative assets. I'm intrigued. With over 10 years of educating small business owners, Daniel has a knack of helping individuals get creative with their finances that lead to life-changing results. Can you see why he does what he does? He likes helping change the lives of others for the better. Under Daniel's leadership, Quest Education has reached the 7-figure mark 2 years in a row with 1,000 customers throughout the United States. His book, Blueprint to Your Best Retirement, is an Amazon bestseller. We'll talk about that a little bit too. All right, officially, formally, welcome to the show, Daniel Blue. It's real. It's bona fide. We're going forward now.
I love it. Let's jam.
So one thing I love to open with, Daniel, is this whole concept of what makes one person successful over, say, another. And what is it that you have done that makes you so much more monumentally successful than someone who hasn't? And usually, almost every time, I have found it comes down to what is going on between those beautiful ears of yours, that big, beautiful noggin of yours. What is going on in your mind on a day-to-day basis? So for you, getting up every morning, you just said it. It takes a lot of hard work to be an entrepreneur. We face arduous tasks. We face things we don't want to deal with. We face, clients we don't want to deal with, and all kinds of things that happen. For you, when you get up in the morning, as an example, what is going on in that beautiful brain of yours that is keeping you going, keeping you driven, keeping you positive, keeping you powering through day in and day out, week in and week out? What is that for you?
I think one is having a routine, and that's massive. COVID was something that threw me off my routine, and I'll just be real with everyone. COVID was something that definitely shook me in the sense of I got thrown off my routine and I got in this funk. You could call it depressed funk, whatever you want to call it. But, all of a sudden I wasn't able to go to the gym, and, I just cut corners. I could have done different things to still exercise, but having a routine is huge. And I would say, and I wouldn't even use me as an example. If you want to say what makes someone successful, I'm going to shed light on other people that are doing things way bigger than me. We were talking offline before we hit record, how important it is to invest into masterminds, into a room of other people that they have what you want, right? They have the marriage you want, they have the body you want, they have the business that you want, they have the bank account you want, they have the investments you want, right? Like, we always should be, especially if you're in a place where you're chasing something greater, you want to grow, you should be surrounded by other people that are performing at a higher level than you. And when I look at people that are crushing it, that are doing things way better than me, way bigger than my business, I just look at their consistency. Like, they just show up and they're just consistent. Rain, shine, snow, night, daytime, weekends. Like, I'm not saying it's 24/7 grind. Like, there still is that life that we still need to live with our families and recharging our batteries. But man, they just consistently show up. Like, they are consistently doing the work despite something like COVID, right? Despite them being sick, right? There's always something that happens, some type of trauma, right? Someone dies, someone gets sick, you lose a job, your business fails, you get divorced, you get dumped. Like, there's just something bad that happens, but can you still keep going? Can you still stay on the path? Can you still put in the work? And I think that's the biggest difference between people that achieve a lot of success versus people that are really complacent, that, aren't in a really good position in their lives.
Oh my gosh, you know what's coming, don't you? I talked about this before we started. That is what I call a bomb dropping moment right there. I mean, smart bombs, knowledge bombs of wisdom. I like to say, just along the same lines, it's like a lesson I learned from my mentor. And that is, you can either let your attitude control your circumstances, or let your circumstances control your attitude, or you can let your attitude dictate your circumstances. And all that to say that we all have choices. We all get hit. Every one of us. We're all human. We all have those bad days, weeks, months, sometimes years. every one of us. No one is immune from it, no matter how much money they make or how successful they are. And the reason someone is so successful typically is what you just said, Daniel. It's really their choice, how they chose to react to that situation. COVID, so many people. It's interesting. Wealthy people become wealthy. The most wealthy become more wealthy during down times, during tragedies, because they figure out a way to solve pain points that are going on during that time. That's what I find so fascinating is it's like buy low, sell high in the stock market. Well, it's low. So now you're going to buy, invest, build, and create something that's going to take you way up. What are your thoughts on that? Is that something you've noticed? Are you aware of that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just goes back to what I was talking about earlier. During times of distress, during times of lack of hope, or just a crappy situation, what happens after that, right? Most people just crumble. Most people become stagnant. Most people become fearful. And people that are really committed in whatever they're seeking, they're going to just keep pushing on no matter what outside circumstances is happening.
And that's hard to do. People don't realize how hard that can be. It's like doing a podcast, a live show, anything like that. Lewis Howes, who's a very prominent, very successful podcaster, he used to say you have to commit to 2 years before you even start or don't even start. Now he's saying 3 to 5. It's getting harder.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. That's how I look at my podcast. When we were just talking about that earlier, I got a lot of respect for you. You've been in the podcast game for a long time. I'm at episode 65, something like that. I don't even care about my downloads, right? I'm a year in it. I told myself I'm not going to really care about this thing for a couple of years. Like, let me do the work for 2 years and let me see what happens, right? So we get caught up on instant gratification. I make a post, or you make a post, and you get 5 likes, and one of the likes is your mom. And you're like, all right, I'm not going to post again, right? Or you make a post, you do a video, and no one reaches out to you on your call to action. But you haven't been doing it long enough. You haven't been showing up. People don't know, like, and trust you right away. You're not going to see results right away. It's not the lottery. So, I think in a day of, where we live today, 2022, everything is instant. We want that dopamine. We want that gratification right now. And if we don't get it, then we look at something else.
Yeah, I totally concur and relate with all of that. And it's not just podcast itself that one must commit to. It's their business to take it through the long run. But one of the really telling things that for those of you who are looking to monetize by going and having a podcast, it's very rare that one gets there that quick. In fact, Lewis Howes, who's just crushing it now, he said it took him about 5 years to start monetizing his podcast. And this guy was connected and still is. So that'll tell you something. I'm not trying to steer people away. I'm just trying to say, use your podcast and your show as your platform to build authority. It's like writing a book, right, Daniel? I mean, you've written a book, and we'll bring that up in a moment. But do you think that book is going to sustain you as an income for yourself and your family for all the years to come by itself?
Yeah, no. I wrote a post on Facebook not that long ago talking about we're all farmers. Like, we just plant seeds, and some seeds take longer to sprout than others. Some seeds don't even they're just bad, right? They're just a bad seed, and it just never comes to fruition. Some seeds are going to sprout sooner than others, and you just got to keep planting seeds, and eventually those seeds are going to sprout. And I look at the book as it's just one seed. My podcast, one seed. Me being on your show, one seed. Me writing an article for Forbes, one seed. Not this seed is better than that seed. I just want to keep planting seeds. I want to be like Johnny Appleseed. And then over the years, eventually I can have something where I can look at my garden and be like, okay, cool.
Yeah, there's a guy named Rick Frischman who, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he headed up Author 101 University. In fact, he did it in your area once a year, and then another one in LA area. So he did 2 a year. And he spoke about, this is all about authoring books, but he spoke about the importance of building one's platform. And what you just described, that was exactly it. You're dropping seeds, you're building a platform. What happens is when Daniel is talking to somebody and he's actually got something to solve a pain point of theirs, the first thing they're going to do is go back and start researching the bejeebers out of who is this Daniel Blue? And because he planted all those seeds, There's no place they can turn where they can't find him. And then when they do find him, was the content quality? Was the book good? Was the video, if they even go that far, the podcast that he's on? So it's going to be a no-brainer. The know, like, and trust factor happens exponentially faster when you have built your platform or planted those seeds. Does that ring true with you, Daniel?
Yeah, especially in a day and age where everyone just gets Googled, right? Or you go on social media, that's your resume. And just be lucky. Consider yourself lucky if you Google your name and you're not competing with a lot of people. If you Google Daniel Blue, I'm fortunate that like my Forbes is like number one, but there's a singer named Daniel Blue. I'm trying to get him below the search engines. There's a Congress dude, Daniel Blue. There's some guy in Baltimore that got charged and sentenced for racketeering drugs in Baltimore. I'm in Las Vegas. So like there's a lot of Daniel Blues I'm trying to kick down in the search engine. So that just goes right back to your point. If I can be on more podcasts, if my podcast can grow, if I can write more articles, if I can just be, creating more content, then I will take over that search engine search where you type in Daniel Blue and you see me.
I love it. I'm laughing hysterically because I got the same problem. Funny. There's a Brian Kelly who's a
Notre Dame coach. You're screwed, bro.
Exactly. That was my next one. That one is like, oh, there's no way. That's like 5 pages. The first 5 are all this Notre Dame football coach. Like, dang it. Why did you use my name? Yeah. But, it's not just about, they will find you if they put in the right keywords. Like if they'll put in like your book title, they'll find you instantly. If they put in your podcast title, they'll find you instantly. There's ways to, they're going to know if it's you or not based on the images that come with it. And this is what I do. I just keep peeling away the onion. Okay, what other keyword? Okay, there's this guy. Wow, he's been everywhere. I wonder if I want to get some financial help. I wonder if I want to learn how to tap into my retirement early without penalty. Well, based on this guy, he's everywhere and he's super professional. Answer is yes. So how do I get in touch with him? And it's all going to be there. So it just works. It works. And I'm so glad you started with saying how it takes hard work. It takes consistency. That was another big word that you noticed, that why all these other people were so successful, because they were consistent through the good and the bad times all the time. And that's one of those things where so many will get hit and knocked backward, and that's it. They say, that's it. This is too tough. I'm quitting. What do you think is one thing that keeps you going when those setbacks keep hitting? What keeps you personally on the path to just, I'm not going to give up no matter what. I'm going to keep going, because sometimes you can get hit several times in a row and go, dang, why am I even doing this? What is it for you?
I would say my circle, being surrounded by people that I can look at and be inspired, people that I can call and, hey, this is my problem. This is what I'm going through. And they're people that I can rely on, people that are in a similar space that I am. They're an entrepreneur. They've got a family. They've got kids. They've got employees. They've got problems too. That's the thing. One thing we tend to forget when it's raining, it's pouring, like anything and everything that can go wrong is going wrong. You feel like you're special. You're the only one going through this, especially when you scroll on social media and everyone is on vacation or they just bought a new car and you're just like, dude, my life sucks. But remember, everyone has issues. Everyone has dirty hands, and we all are going through these challenges, and you just might be at a different point than someone else. So it's just really nice that I can rely on people that I've been in the trenches with over the years. And that's why, again, I'm a big proponent on self-development. I'm a big proponent on reading books, listening on podcasts. I'm a big proponent of finding a community, finding a mastermind, a group that you can invest your time and your resources in. And it's pretty amazing what I've been able to experience from different groups where I've been able to create friends I've been, for many years with because of a Facebook group, right? And it sounds like, some catfish dating app. No, it's a group of entrepreneurs that meet. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, shoot, you live in my city and you have this in common with me. And next thing you know, my wife and their wife, and we're all hanging out together. And it's like, oh, man, we got a lot in common. And, it's you can't do things alone.
That's a huge key right there. Just that one last sentence, you can't do things alone. That is, if whoever's listening to this right now, and if you're struggling, if you learn or remember nothing else from this entire show, That was the key right there, in my humble opinion. Well, he's got many keys: consistency, but don't go about it alone. And the fact that you're involved in a mastermind, we were talking about earlier, you can say the name of it if you're okay to, if they allow you to, that you go to, and you've committed, you invested not only with your finances, but also your time, because you travel an extended period or a distance to do this. You said, I think 9 times a year.
Yeah, it's a group by a friend, a mentor of mine. His name is Ryan Stewman, and his group is called Apex. And we get together 9-10 times a year and solve problems and find ways to work together, work through problems, create friendships, do business deals, JVs. I did want to touch on something that I struggle with that maybe someone here can relate to. One, there's that old saying where it's like, I think it's something along the lines of, you can go really fast by yourself, but you can go really, really far with other people. And some people are hesitant or shy to seek groups to join masterminds or get involved in an event or a coaching group, because they're just like, man, these people are so far ahead of me, or I don't have value. Like, how am I going to add value to the room? That's a big word right now, is add value, add value, add value. Funny story. I was at an event, and this random dude just comes up to me, and I have no idea who he is. He doesn't know who I am. Just comes up, shakes my hand. He goes, "Hey man, how can I add value in your life?" And it was like 5 seconds. I was like, "Bro, I know you just watched Gary Vee on Instagram right now, and you're doing what he told you to do, but this isn't how networking works, right?" But going back to adding value, maybe you're someone that doesn't have a business that's crushing it, and you don't have all these employees, and you're just kind of figuring it out. You can still add value by being someone that isn't annoying, being a friend, being someone that wants to learn. A lot of people love to pass knowledge on. A lot of people love to teach. A lot of people love to mentor. A lot of people love to pour into other people, but they don't want to do that to someone that thinks they know everything and isn't willing to learn, right? So there's just a lot of different ways that you can bring value, and it's not in the way that you're thinking of, like, man, I don't have clients to send them, or man, like I don't have a ton of money to give, right? It's there, you got to look at it in a different perspective.
Yeah, I think we're all given different talents. We're all given different, not given, but we all earn different financial status. But you can just, like you said, there's so many ways you can add value. One way would be to actually strike up a no kidding conversation with somebody and show interest in them legitimately and say, hey, you're here at this event. You're like me. Why are you here? What are you looking to do? And I'm not saying this to try to extract out of them what their pain points are so I can then sell them. I want to get to know them. Yeah. And then in that process, this is what I love about it. Naturally, organically, you find out whether or not you're a fit for them and vice versa. And you don't have to sell a thing or push anything and say, how can I add value to you, Daniel? That it reminds me of another one where there was one guy I'll never forget. I was at an event. I was actually helping in the event. So I sat near the back. I was helping out with the crew and all this other stuff. Long story. Nice big seminar. And this guy was throwing out business cards to everybody that walked in the door. He stood at the door and handed them to everybody. He had a big old stack in his hand. And he didn't say a word to it. Hey, here's my business card. Here's my business card. I'm looking at it like, why would I want your business card? I don't even know who you are. I mean, what? I just took it. And the first round file I found, I dropped it in it, the trash can. And so later on, I'm out there's a break. He's running around. Here's my card. Here's my card. I'm like, you already gave me one. I already have it. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. And he shoves it, like sticking it in my face. I'm like, just to get him out of my face, I took it. And guess what? It happened another time. I couldn't believe it. I'm sitting at tables, and there was a table behind us. I was second row from the back, and I feel a tap on my shoulder. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And the main speaker is in the process of speaking at that moment. This guy's, hey, here's my card. Here's my card. So now everybody can give him attention. I look back and it's like, no. I'm like doing it silently. I have your card. I turned back around and the dude literally threw it like a ninja star and it landed right on my desk right in front of me. So I always tell people, do not be a business card ninja at events or anywhere. If they don't ask you for your card, there is no reason to give it to them. That's the credo I live by. I don't even carry cards anymore. We don't need to.
Yeah, but I mean, social media kind of took over that. That's your business card. Yeah,
it's just the manner in which you go about establishing a relationship. That's the point and the key that you are making is to be organic, be just do it inherently, organically, and show that person you have some interest in them, at least initially, because that, let's be honest, you might ask them a question, you don't like the answer, you're gonna have to move on, but at least now you know if that's a person you want to talk to more. So I appreciate that. This is fantastic. So there are many key things, and you've mentioned several of them, and this may be a repeat, but I like to consolidate it a little bit. And if you were to think of where you are today, not where you were yesterday, not where you think you'll be tomorrow, but today, right now, the 3 key elements that you concentrate on that has totally contributed to your success where you are today. If you were to tell another person who's looking to achieve your level of success, and you had 3 key elements that they should follow to achieve what you have achieved, what might those be?
And I would say gratitude.
Ooh.
And before I forget all 3, I would say gratitude, consistency, and discipline. And I got just a real transparent story on the gratitude side. Gratitude, again, is another buzzword, right? It's value, add value, be grateful, right? So it's like, cool thing to say. But I'm talking about like really digging deep and finding events that happen in your life and having gratitude. I'll give you guys an example. So I grew up just normal childhood. My mom, my dad raised me, lived in a cul-de-sac. We weren't rich, but we weren't poor. And I had a lot good going on. By the time I was 12, my parents got divorced and my dad moved to Mexico. So next thing you know, my dad's in a different country. I don't talk to him anymore. He doesn't talk to me. And I don't know why he left. And I don't get any answers. And now I know it's just my mom and I. So my mom and I struggled over the years. She did an amazing job. She worked full-time as a social worker, and she did everything that she could have done to put food on the table, and she crushed it. But living in California, and you know this, Brian, like the high cost of living, there was some challenging financial times during this period of time in my teenager years. And I held on to a lot of resentment towards my dad, especially in like middle school and high school. I'd hang out with my friends, and they would hang out with their dads, and I would think, well, why does he get to hang out with their dad? Like, what about me? Where's my dad? I didn't have a dad to show me how to tie a tie. My dad didn't show me how to, drive a stick shift car, right? These kids don't even drive shift cars anymore, right? They don't even know how good they have it, right? So, these things I start, complaining, playing the role of a victim. Poor me. And I start holding on to a lot of resentment and a lot of anger. And that's a big reason what led me to abuse Oxycontin. I was addicted to Oxycontin from the age of 18 to 20 years old. I was using these drugs to mask my anger. And it changed. My life completely changed, Brian, when I was 19 years old. I had a daughter. And I didn't plan on having a daughter. I just truly believed that God was like, yo, this is your one shot at getting clean. And here is this beautiful little girl, and you're going to need to figure this out. And thank God I had my mom in my life. And I remember holding my daughter and thinking, man, this is amazing. Like, this is her blood and my blood. Like, this is just, it's surreal. If you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you look at your child and it's just like, words can't describe it. And then I remember thinking, man, that's what my dad must think about me. And then I start thinking about, you know what? He made mistakes. He's not perfect, but he was a hell of a dad up until I was 12 years old. He was great. And some people don't even have a dad. Some kids have a dad and they're a piece of crap. So I'm grateful that I even have a dad. I'm grateful that he's alive. I know he loves me. And I immediately just changed my perspective and became grateful that I didn't have him in my life at that point, and the fact that he left, because it allowed me to get closer to my mom. It built character. It created more strength within me. So I started looking at all the pluses, and that's gratitude, right? Like, that's not surface level stuff. That's not, waking up in the morning and you're like, I'm so glad I'm alive. No, like, you got to really dig deep, because I know you've been hurt. Like, there's someone that's wronged you. Someone screwed you over. You got divorced. You lost the business. Like, something bad happened. That was my bad thing, right? And I'm not like, woe is me, I'm the only one going through this. You might be having something way worse than me. But like, you just got to find that one thing and just flip the script. And if you can have gratitude in those moments, man, it's a lot easier to be grateful for the bad stuff. It's easy to be grateful for the good stuff. It's easy to sit down and have a steak dinner and be like, man, thank you, God, for this food. That's easy. But when things are going really, really bad, that's the time where you got to tap into that gratitude, and you find a lot of peace and happiness when you do that.
Gosh, it's like we live parallel lives, brother. I'm telling you. And I same thing. I agree wholeheartedly. Last March, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. She's going to be fine, but she's still going through treatment. Let's see, March, April, May. No, a year ago, March, not this last March. So she's already been through a lot of the treatment and the hell that goes with it. This past February, my dad was scammed out of 25 grand because he has onset advanced dementia. We found out. We knew something was wrong. And I've been dealing with that 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day of my every day on the phone with him. He's calling, he's forgetting. It's just been a grind, and I get it totally. And I look and I say, I'm grateful that I was the one chosen to be the one to take care of both, because you know what's going to happen as a result is any problem that comes my way after this, even through it, is going to pale in comparison. What might have been a big problem isn't going to be nothing anymore. And plus, I'm the one, I love my wife beyond all description. And my dad was a great dad too. He's not my dad anymore. Not in his mind. He's a different person, and it's weird. So I get it, and I have gratitude for that. So I totally agree with what you're saying, that the hard stuff is the one to really dig deep and find out what is something to be grateful for that situation. When you can overcome that, when you can achieve that, I think that's a level of mental maturity that goes beyond description. And I think that also helps you to elevate your life in business, in personal, in everything. And you're looking at the recipe for success. You're hearing it. And that's Daniel Blue. You're hearing the real reason he's successful. Not all the, all the other stuff contributes to it. All the time and effort and developing skills for sure. But it's always the mindset. We always come back to that. What is going on in your mind that is either contributing to your success or deterring from it? And it's either going to be one or the other. There's no in between. So listen to people like Daniel. Model do what he's saying. Think of those things. We all have them. You've got them. I know it. Those you watch and listen. You got that really bad one that you're thinking about right now. What can you be grateful about that situation? And dig and find it, and then embrace it and mean it. Oh, thank you, Daniel. Man, I'm not going to drop bombs on that one. That was like right in the heart. I love that one. Thank you so much. You are a special breed. Thank you for your authenticity, for your transparency. I don't even know what Oxycontin is or even how to spell it. That's how old I am. But I appreciate you bringing that up, because so many successful people have gone through those low points in their life. And it's important to know that, because everyone has those moments. Now you can get that hope, knowing that if Daniel can do it, why can't I? If he can come out of that, if he can go through the hardships of his dad leaving and going through drugs and then having a daughter before he's ready at 19, good Lord, man, I can't imagine that. So kudos to you for all you've been through and how you've reacted to it. That's what I want to say. It's just like a virtual high five. Way to go.
I appreciate the kind words and sending positive energy your way with your wife. I hope she kicks cancer right in the butt. And, I can only imagine what it's like with your father. I can't relate with my mom, but I can imagine when it gets to that point, if it does, that's got to be really tough. Yeah.
And it's been a long, arduous thing, but you know what we're doing right now, this is my therapy. I'm not big into the whole therapy scene, but this is my therapy. It's doing what I love to do, is talking to great, amazing people like yourself, sharing these stories, just like you're talking about the masterminds and how you're learning from people who have all these different situations that are different than yours, but you can learn from them because they have better results in certain areas. Mentorship. I mean, you're doing everything that I hear a lot of people say, but they themselves don't practice. You are a product of the product. And that's why I'm so appreciative that you're on this show, because people can take to heart and know with certainty that if they follow your model, they can achieve greater success. That is the whole purpose of the show. And you are fulfilling that purpose. So I appreciate you, man. You're an awesome guy. Just awesome. When it comes to business, you're perfect. You've never made a mistake in your life, right? It's all been just easy sailing. And because you got it all down, you got it perfected. I know I'm being a little bit facetious here. You know, if you were to look back over your entire duration of this entrepreneur walk, is there one thing that stands out, one glaring thing that you did that you wish you hadn't, and or maybe you learned the most from, that sticks out, that might help others who are watching or listening right now?
You know, I would probably say in the very beginning of entrepreneurship, everyone is a client, right? Like, you're so focused on generating revenue that you want to just help everyone. One, you're probably a good person, so you just want to help everyone. Two, you're just like, dude, I just checked my bank account. Like, I need to help you, right? And then you come to realize as you're in business longer, you're like, holy crap, I got Bob that's a client. Their lifetime value is X. And then I've got Susie that's a client, and her lifetime value is Y. And I got to put in way more work into Bob, right? Like, you just start to realize, like, man, is this even worth it? Because ultimately, as a business, you have to profit, right? Unless you've got a nonprofit and you've got grants coming in and donations coming in. But ultimately, you're probably listening to the show because you have a business or you want to start a business and you need to bring in profit. So you start, that's one experience that I learned from, where you learn to really be intentional with your ideal client and who you can and can't help. And there's times where, yes, on paper, you can help that person. Yes, there can be a transaction where they pay you for your service, but it's just really not the best move. And it's actually not the best move for both parties. But it takes actually putting your hand on that hot stove, getting burned, and then realizing, ouch, that hurt. I probably shouldn't do that again.
And I think that's so common for probably everyone on the planet that's in that initial stage, because they're in a place of scarcity and they need the money, and that's driving their decision more than the logic part. Because a bad client, whether it's not a fit or whether they're just a bad attitude type of person, it can be a cancer to your entire desires, so your company. You know, they could suck your life dry of time, of whining, of crying, or of just not following through on the parts that they're supposed to follow through on, or what. There's so many things that, yeah, it's very important to screen and be sure as much as possible that this client is going to be a mutual fit, and you both can go along. You can help them, and they will be teachable if that's what you're doing. If you're teaching, I'm just guessing that because Daniel might own an educational company or something like that. So I want to talk about that too. Let's dig into your book a little bit, if you don't mind, if you want to put that up, and let's go ahead and give us the title and what is in the book and what's it about. Give us a quick little synopsis.
Yeah, this is where I wish I was right now, Brian. I wish I was on the beach. Unfortunately, I'm in Las Vegas. Fun fact about Las Vegas, they just found some skeletons in Lake Mead. Lake Mead is like one of the biggest man-made lakes in the country. And apparently these bones that were found were apparently from like the 70s and 80s, and the mob probably killed them and put them in Lake Mead, and they found their bones 30 years later. So that's the type of water I'm dealing with right now. But the book is called Blueprint to Your Best Retirement, and it's a book that I wrote that helps people access their IRA, 401ks, penalty and tax-free. That's a big myth, is people think that they can't touch their retirement without getting nailed in penalties and taxes. They can't touch their retirement until they're quote unquote retired. And there's actually IRS approved ways where people can access their retirement accounts penalty and tax free. And we show people how to do that. And once we educate them on that process, they're able to use the funds from their retirement account in a lot of different ways. Maybe they want to use that money to start a business. You know, maybe you've got a business idea that you want to get implemented, but you need some capital. Well, you could use technically a retirement account to fund your business, or maybe you want to use the money to invest in real estate. You know, right now, as we're doing this podcast, a lot of people in the stock market are looking for other options to grow their money. So there's really, when we break it down to its simple form, is we help people liberate, help them free up their 401k and IRA so they can make more moves.
I love it. And so who would you describe as your ideal target market, your ideal client, when you go through, and you've been doing this for a while now? And then what I want to do is pull up your website, and you can give a brief overview for those people who I know will be interested, because you just said a lot of things that intrigue me, that you could tap into your IRA without penalty. What? I didn't know that. I thought you had to be like 65 or 62 and a half or whatever it is now to get to that point, which I'm getting close, but that's neither here nor there. So I want to pull up your website, and then if you don't mind, who is your ideal client right now? I know you'll serve others, not that don't fit just that mold, but what are some, maybe throw in a success story if you have one, to go ahead and throw that in there as well. So I'll pull up your website and take it away.
Yeah. So someone that comes to mind is a gal that we helped right before COVID. She was thinking about always wanting to start a business pre-COVID, and it was a goal of hers. She wanted to start a school, but she got busy with life, working her job, her kids, all the fun stuff, right? So she never started her school, but COVID happened. And anyone that has a kid during COVID, what a nightmare that was with the education system, right? So she saw what happened with COVID as an opportunity to start a school. So she just needed some capital, and she happened to have a 401k from an old job. She took that 401k from her previous employer, moved it into what's called the solo 401k. From there, she accessed that money penalty and tax-free, and she used that money to start her school. And she crushed it during COVID. And once things died down and the world kind of went back to normal, she actually has her school in person now. So because of our service, we were able to free up her money, and she was able to accomplish her goal and start her business. And doing something like that was awesome to see, especially since it was a dream of hers. So doing things like that is what we're seeking to do. So if someone that has an established retirement account, a 401k from an old job or an IRA, typically someone that's 35, 40 years and above in age, has an established retirement account, and someone that likes the idea of accessing this money penalty and tax free and doing something different than the stock market, right? Like I said, maybe it's funding a business, maybe it's investing in real estate, maybe it's investing in crypto, precious metals. There's this whole world that exists out there where you have more moves that you can make with your money beyond what Wall Street wants you to know about.
I love that. And as you're talking, I mean, I'm gonna reach out to him. I have a fiduciary that maybe you two could team up to do something together and collaborate, because it's a great area to concentrate in for those. I did not for many years, unfortunately, but fortunately I now am. And as a result, we're financially set, my wife and I, and that's a great thing. It's a great thing to do. Not to boast or brag, but when you get people like Daniel in your corner, this is what can be true for you. And like he said, whatever your reason or need is, I think the first thing you just do is go reach out to Daniel and just pick his brain. And you can see on his website, and I'm kind of like taking the bull by the horns here, because this is his business and his site, and I haven't even looked at all the links, but you can schedule a call right here. Will they get in touch with you or a team member, or how does that work?
Yeah, they'll get a call from one of my staff members.
That's fantastic. And for those of you that tells me a lot right there. This gentleman, Daniel Blue, is not a fly-by-nighter. He's got staff. He's got a bona fide company with people that work in the company. And I'm not saying anything negative toward a solopreneur, because it's okay. But somebody that's going to be taking care of your financial ends, you want someone that's established. And that's what I'm seeing with Daniel. And he didn't pay me for any of this, by the way. This is completely off the cuff. I kid you not. So danielblue.me, M-E. So Daniel, DANIEL, BLUE.me, M-E, for those of you listening on podcasts. So write that down and definitely head over to it. And if you fit that mold, 35 and up, and you have some retirement built up, maybe 401k or others in stock markets, etc., give them a call, see what you can do. If you've got that dream, you want to start that business, you want to look into alternative means of investing. Do you have advice for that kind of things too, Daniel, or are you specializing in freeing up their money so they can do what they want?
Yeah, so more on the latter. So by design, we're not financial advisors, so we don't sell stocks or real estate or investments. So I love that about us, because we're just free to provide public information, right? Like we just shed light on essentially Googleable information, right? Everything I'm talking about isn't something that is a marketing ploy that I just made up. This is all IRS code. It's been around for decades. It's just you haven't learned about it because, number one, Wall Street usually doesn't want you to, because think about it. They make money based off of assets under management. If you're using your retirement account to do a flip, you're using your retirement account to invest in real estate, you're using your retirement account to start a school, your advisor isn't going to make money off of you. Wall Street's not going to make money off of you. So why would they teach you these strategies? And again, my education on this podcast, what I'm talking about here, self-directed retirement accounts, solo 401ks, this isn't the one all be all solution. We're just a tool in the tool belt. So we're an education company. We provide solutions for people and being able to essentially be their quarterback and facilitate and empower them so they can have the knowledge that they need to have, in order to look at their situation and make a move that's going to be the best one for them.
Fantastic. I love it. And, I love the fact, again, there you go with the transparency. So people could Google it all. Here's the beautiful thing. Yeah, you could go Google it all and figure it out on your own. I'm talking to the audience here. But it would take you some time. Obviously, Daniel has put in the time and effort to do all the research, to put everything together, to match your conditions and your situations that if you did it on your own, I can imagine it's going to take a lot of time of research and then probably some trial and error to get it to where it works for you and your particular situation. So I always say this is like, it may cost you some money to work with Daniel, but how much would it cost if you didn't? And usually it's going to cost you more for the latter if you don't, because of the expertise that Daniel brings to the table, and he'll get you lined up much quicker than if you try to invent it on your own, which, yes, you probably could. We're all smart, but why would you? Because you are smart, time is money and that you could be earning or getting that money and pursuing your dream much faster than if you do it on your own. So that's just my 2 cents. Does that ring true at all, Daniel? Am I like way off base?
I mean, we literally tell people that all the time, right? It's like, you don't need us. You could do this on your own. You also could go set up an LLC at LegalZoom and do your own taxes through H&R Block. Do you want to do that? That's on you, right?
I love it. And it's basic, but it's true. Anyway, you've got a track record, you've got success, you've got clients. So I just implore people that are out there that are looking to do what he just said, is tap into their savings in a no penalty way. Yeah, and a non-traditional way, but with no penalty. And to you, then I've never even heard of this until I just met you earlier before we started the show. Like, what? You can do that? That's crazy. Other than turning whatever, I don't even know what the age is. Is it 65?
59 and a half is when the 10% early withdrawal penalty kicks in. But if you've got pre-tax money, tax deferred money, which most people have, you're always going to have to pay taxes. That's why I'm a big proponent of a Roth 401k or a Roth IRA.
Love it. Love it. So if you want to get your financial house in shape, Daniel is your man. Again, he did not pay me a dime for my helping to get the word out. When I see somebody that I have that gut feeling that they're there to help and serve, and not only that, but has the chops, that's been through it, that's been doing it for some time. He's got a business, a bona fide business. He's got employees. He's got it all. Then that my gut's saying, go for it, do it. So promote this guy. He's here to help you. Just think, the thing I'm loving are all the entrepreneurs watching. Like, oh, I have that, and I've always wanted to start that business, but I never knew a way to do it. But if I can do it this way, I could see all these light bulbs going off everywhere with people that are listening. So now I've learned something new. I get to learn something new every show. I just love this. One big kicker is, let's turn this around. So I asked you about the big mistake. What about your biggest win? I mean, what has been to date the absolute most satisfying thing that has happened to you in your business up until now? If you can think of just one, what would that be?
Man, I'm going to tie it to personal, because to me, it's a lot easier to perform in business when you can be at peace, right? Like, it sucks getting on a sales call or having a meeting with your staff or just going into your business, day when you just fought with your wife, right? When you just had a bad day, you got a bad phone call, you got bad news, right? It's tough. You're human. So if you can win in your personal life, it just makes business a lot easier, right? I can jump on your podcast right now and be at peace because, I'm in a good place right now in my personal life. And so that's where I'm going to kind of preface this. But, when I had my daughter at 19, I parted ways with her mom. So her mom and I weren't together. So, at that point, I'm 19 years old. Luckily, I had my mom to help me with my daughter, but there's no mom in the picture besides, when I dropped my daughter off to see her mom. And I'm in Utah at the time. And Utah is just a state that naturally is going to give more time with the mother, no matter what. Like I truly believe in my experience, and maybe there's an attorney watching this right now that's going to say I'm full of crap. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm giving you a disclaimer, but I truly believe in the state of Utah, if you're a man, like you have to have like the mom had to have gone to jail. Like something really bad had to have happened with the mom, and the judge can be like, okay, dad, we'll give you more time. If that doesn't happen, then you're just going to get every other weekend. Like that's the time you're going to get with your daughter, with your son. That's just the normal statute. So I had that for a long time, and that ate at me, Brian. Like I'm a weekend dad every other weekend. Like I want to be able to do the things that my dad couldn't do for me. I want to take my kid to school. I want to help with homework. Like I want to take her to volleyball, and it just ate at me. I'm like, man, I can't do this every other weekend. And I just like trusted the process. I'm like, hey, eventually it's going to turn. I'm just going to take, and again, this is just going back to gratitude. I'm grateful that I even get her, Bella, my daughter, every other weekend. I'm grateful I even get this time with her, and I'm going to be the best damn dad I can be every other weekend. I just focused on what I can control, and I just prayed, and I was at peace knowing down the road it's going to change. Well, shoot, man. It's been 3 years and Bella lives with us. I'm remarried. I've got a wife that's amazing. And we have her like 95% of the time. And I get along with Bella's mom. Bella's mom is actually going to come to our house this weekend and help my daughter with her hair because she has a school dance. So like we get along really good. But just the way that her mom's life, Bella's mom's life is situated right now, and our life, it just makes more sense for Bella to stay with us. She goes to school. I took her to school this morning, and it's just amazing. Like I never thought that. I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know when. So, something like that was just a massive win because I've always wanted that. And that definitely made business a lot easier knowing that, I could perform at a high level.
Wow. Congratulations for that happening for sure. And that's very powerful to talk about the power of your personal state where you are in any given moment and how that can permeate into your business, because let's face it, business is all about relationships. So that makes it personal. And so if that part of your life is suffering in any way, then it's a good idea to focus on it. I love how you turned that around and said, but I have gratitude about it. That's, to me, everyone watching, listening, that's the solution right there. Because he said, I'll only do what I have the power to control. I will concentrate on that and focus on that. Well, he had the power to have gratitude. He had the power to pray. He had the power to believe. He had the power to just take the best he could out of it and be the best dad he could during the time he had. And look what happened. So it's just about focus, concerted effort. And I love it about the gratitude, the tough gratitude. That's a tough one there too, for sure. Oh my goodness, we're getting near the end. I promised that for those who are watching live that they would get the opportunity to enter to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. I'm going to do that in a second. Daniel, I end every show with one question. It's become very profound. I kind of stumbled upon it by accident after asking it more than once over a series of weeks in between, and thought, wow, these answers are pretty amazing. I'm going to just make them a regular on every show. And so it's very profound. It can get a little personal. So don't worry, it's not digging into your knicker.
You can see I'm an open book. So
yeah. And I can look at you. You're sweating like crazy. No, you're not. You're calm as a cucumber. Or cold as a cucumber. That's it. I don't know where I got that. Anyway, so, but real quick, that prize, everyone who is watching, write this down and then enter to win after the show's over, because you do not want to miss Daniel's answer to the big questione. But here is the prize entry information. So you just want to head on over to ryp.im/vacation. Again, all lowercase, ryp.im/vacation. Write that down. And then after Daniel has answered this profound question and we've closed the show, feel free to go in and enter, and we'll choose a winner. And I hope it's you. I'm talking to every one of you. All right, here we go. So one of the great things about this question, Daniel, is there is no such thing as a wrong answer. It doesn't exist. In fact, the exact opposite is the case. Is the only correct answer is yours. It's unique to you. That is the only thing that makes it personal. That's it. Like I said, it doesn't get in your knickers. So I know you're ready, but I got to ask, are you ready?
You know it.
All right, here we go. Daniel Blue, how do you define success?
Man, I'm going to steal this from someone I had on my podcast, John Lee Dumas. Goes by JLD. He's got a Entrepreneur on Fire podcast. Some of you guys may have heard his show. It's a really, really good show. So I asked him that same question when I interviewed him, and I loved his response. His response was, success to me is waking up in the morning, looking at my calendar and seeing that everything on my calendar, everything I'm doing that day is what I want to do. I'm not there yet. So I don't consider, because I really like that response, right? There's a lot of things that are on my calendar that I don't want to do, but I'm only 4 years in business. I'm only, I'll be 33 years old in June, in a month. So yeah, I mean, that's my, I'm going to steal his response because I really loved it.
Oh, I love it too. And I'll give you one for that for sure. Here we go. Yes. Oh my goodness, Daniel Blue, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, talking with you, getting to know you, learning more about you, your brilliance. And thank you for coming on and helping everyone who's watched and listened to this show, either live, recording on podcasts, or on Roku, Amazon Fire TV. We're everywhere. I appreciate you beyond belief. And that's it. If you can drop us one final tip so if you're 4 years into it, you're doing pretty darn good. For someone just starting out, if they were questioning whether or not to become an entrepreneur, and you could give them one tip that would help them to say, okay, I want to become an entrepreneur, but the tip will tell them, well, this is what you got to do to get there, to get successful. If you could think of one thing that you would say to focus everything you've got on that, what would that tip be?
Do it despite how you feel. Do it despite how scared you are. Do it despite what people are going to think about you, because that's huge, right? You can't be afraid to put yourself out there. You can't really put a whole lot of stock into what someone is saying about you when it's someone that you don't even know or someone you don't really care about, right? Everyone has an opinion. So you really have to have that attitude of not caring what other people think about you. I know that's, said a lot in social media and whatnot, but it's one thing to hear it versus implementing it. There's only certain people that I care about when they say something about me, right? Because I know that it comes from love, right? I know they want the best for me. So I don't believe like that whole, don't care about what anyone thinks about you, right? Like there's certain people that you should take stock in because again, their intentions are the right place. But other than that, man, like who cares? Like ultimately you have to have that attitude in order to persevere and just keep on going, even during the days where you've got doubt.
You are a man of exceedingly great wisdom, and I mean that sincerely. I appreciate you, Daniel. I know everyone's watching and listening will appreciate you as well. That's it for tonight's show. My goodness, I want to keep going. I think we can go another hour or so if you're cool with that. I know you're on the same.
You got to get out in Vegas, brother.
That would be good. I'm down for that. Let's do it. All right. On behalf of the amazing Daniel Blue, I am Brian Kelly, your host of the Mind Body Business Show. We'll see you again next week with another amazing guest. I cannot wait for that one as well. But for now, this was amazing. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate you, brother. Until then, everyone else, so long and be blessed. Take care. Bye-bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com.